All right, buckle up, everybody. Welcome to another deep dive. This time, we're all about unlocking that unstoppable diving deep into mindset and discipline. We've got this awesome YouTube audiobook, Discipline Your Mindset, How to Get What You Truly Deserve, as our guide today.
Yeah, love that one.
It's structured like, a classic self-help deal, each chapter breaking down a different piece of the puzzle. And honestly, some of these techniques, they're surprisingly practical.
Yeah.
We're going beyond the usual pep talk here.
Oh, absolutely.
But we're not just summarizing the book, are we? What really hooked you in, expert speaker?
Yeah.
What about this audiobook's take on discipline stood out?
It's the way it totally flips the script on what discipline even is, It's not about those restrictions forcing yourself into these rigid routines. Instead, it's like a tool for freedom.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, freedom to focus, freedom to make choices that line up with what you actually want, even when things get, tough.
So less deprivation, more empowerment. Is that what we're getting at?
Exactly. And it gets down to the nitty-gritty, right? From chapter 1, the power of a disciplined mindset. It dives deep into this idea of self-control. Not like some, superpower that only a select few have, but as a muscle that you can train.
Like hitting the mental gym. Gotta love that.
Totally. And it even gives you, actual tactics for dealing with distractions, which, let's be honest, we all face those.
Oh, tell me about it. That's me all the time. My brain's wired for that instant gratification, It's a struggle.
Right. But this whole idea of training self-control, that's what I found so intriguing. It makes discipline seem less, scary and more like a skill you can actually develop.
Okay, I'm digging that. Makes it feel more attainable.
Yeah.
Like something we can actually work towards.
Yeah. And the audiobook ties it all into proactive action. So instead of just reacting to whatever life throws at you, you're shaping your reality.
Taking the reins, huh? Being the driver.
Exactly. Think of it like if you're trying to, let's say, get in shape. Instead of beating yourself up for having that extra slice of cake, a disciplined mindset is what helps you pack those healthy snacks beforehand.
You're not even tempted, right?
That's clever.
Right. It's about setting yourself up for success. And then we get to chapter 2, the power of belief. Buckle up, because things get deep here. It's all about how belief, like that deep down certainty you have in yourself, that's the foundation of success. But it goes beyond just positive thinking, right?
Got to be deeper than that, yeah. What's the real deal?
This is where the audiobook brings in the self-fulfilling prophecy. And this stuff is potent, really, because if you believe you can succeed, you'll unconsciously start making choices that lead you there.
You set yourself on that path even without realizing it.
Right. But on the flip side, if you're full of self-doubt, well, you're more likely to sabotage your own efforts without even knowing it. Oh, for sure. Like that saying, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. But how do you actually shift those super ingrained beliefs? It can't be as simple as just chanting, I believe in myself, can it?
It's definitely a bit more nuanced than that. The audiobook suggests we got to tackle those limiting beliefs we often inherit without even realizing it.
Oh, that's interesting. Inherited beliefs. Like what?
Like imagine growing up hearing things like money doesn't grow on trees or we can't afford that. Those kind of messages can embed deep beliefs about money, right? Beliefs that actually hold us back as adults.
Whoa, yeah, I never thought about it like that before. It's like those messages become part of our operating system.
Exactly. So part of this whole process is unearthing those beliefs and consciously choosing to replace them with, ones that are more empowering.
So awareness is step 1. Then it's about intentionally rewiring those thought patterns.
Yeah.
But how does the audiobook actually suggest doing that? Where do you even begin?
Well, it gets into some practical stuff like affirmations and visualization, which I know some people might think are a bit, woo-woo at first.
Right, a little out there.
Yeah. But there's actually, a good amount of research that backs up how effective they can be. Affirmations, when you do them right, they're more than just positive self-talk. They're about repeatedly feeding your subconscious mind with the beliefs you want to have, essentially overriding those old, mental tapes.
Like consciously rewriting the code, basically.
Exactly. And what about visualization? It's not just daydreaming.
It's got to be more active than that, more intentional.
Oh, for sure. It's about creating such a vivid mental picture of what you want that it feels almost real. The more senses you can engage, the more powerful it gets. The audiobook even suggests making a vision board.
Oh, like a collage of your goals. That's a classic.
Yeah. It's a visual representation of everything you're aiming for to keep those aspirations top of mind. So you're deliberately shaping your beliefs. And then, get ready, because chapter 3, reprogramming your subconscious, takes things to a whole new level.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Subconscious reprogramming. Sounds intense.
It really is. This chapter dives into that autopilot of your mind, your subconscious, where all those beliefs and patterns are stored. And the crazy part, a lot of these patterns, they're formed when we're kids.
Whoa, so we're running on programs from way back when.
Yeah, before we even had the awareness to question them. So it's like we're carrying around all this baggage that we don't even realize is weighing us down. But how do you actually access and reprogram the subconscious? It's not like there's an instruction manual, right?
It feels kind of mysterious almost.
It does, but the audiobook argues there are ways to tap into that deeper part of you. It talks about techniques like self-hypnosis and meditation as tools to access and actually reprogram those beliefs. It might sound a bit far out there, but think of it like this. If you want to change the course of a ship, you have to go below deck and adjust the rudder.
Boy, I like that analogy. You can't just yell at the waves from the deck.
Exactly. So it's about understanding we have more control over our minds than we might think. But isn't all this subconscious reprogramming kind of time-consuming? I mean, life is busy. How do you fit it all in?
Yeah, that's a real concern. Not everyone's got hours to spare.
Right. And that's where chapter 4 comes in, aligning your actions with your intentions. This is all about bridging that gap between your dreams and your everyday life.
Okay, I'm listening. How do we make those dreams a reality?
Well, it starts by highlighting how important clarity of intention is. A lot of people, they have these vague ideas like, oh, I want to be successful or I want to be happy.
I've all been.
Right. But without a clear vision of what that actually looks like, it's tough to turn those desires into actionable steps.
It's like setting off on a trip without a destination in mind.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the audiobook is super clear. Your actions have to match those intentions. You can't just dream about writing a book if you spend all your free time like binge watching shows.
Dreams got to meet action, huh?
For sure. It takes real dedicated effort, consistent action. And in your experience, expert speaker, what are some of the biggest misalignments you see, those gaps between what people say they want and how they're actually spending their time?
Yeah, where do those disconnects usually happen?
Oh, there are so many. But one I see often is people setting these ambitious fitness goals, but still indulging in those unhealthy eating habits.
Yeah. Classic disconnect.
Or they dream of starting a business, but spend their free time on, well, things that don't actually contribute to that goal.
Right. So it's more than just a vision board. It's about making choices that actively support that vision every day.
Couldn't have said it better myself. The audiobook gets into strategies like that 80-20 rule, where you focus on the 20% of your actions that give you 80% of the results.
Work smarter, not harder.
Right.
Prioritize those high-impact actions.
Yep. And it also talks about time blocking, actually scheduling in those important tasks, making them non-negotiable.
Like setting an appointment with yourself for your goals. I like it.
Right. So you've got clarity of intention, aligned action, and then we hit chapter 5, mastering the art of self-discipline. What's the big takeaway here?
Okay, break it down for me. This is where the rubber meets the road.
This chapter is all about building the bridge between what you want and what you actually achieve. It says self-discipline isn't some magical trait, it's a skill.
Something we can learn, not just something we're born with.
Exactly. It's developing that inner strength to follow through, even when you'd rather not.
Ugh, yes. Easier said than done, though, right?
It is. But the audiobook says it's a learned skill, something you train over time. It even talks about, like, the science behind it, how willpower is like a muscle you got to exercise.
So starting small, building those discipline reps. Makes sense.
That's it. And wouldn't you say a big part of this is knowing your why? Like having a purpose that makes those disciplined efforts feel less like a burden.
Oh, totally. When you know why you're doing it, it's easier to stick with it.
It's huge. It's way easier to resist that donut when you're crystal clear on why you're choosing the salad.
Right. Whether it's for your health, your fitness goals, or just to feel good. Okay, so we're laying down the foundation. Disciplined mindset, aligned action, strong sense of purpose. And then chapter 6, building mental resilience. Man, that feels so relevant these days.
Couldn't agree more. In today's world, you need resilience.
Right. We're all dealing with challenges, setbacks, the whole 9 yards. So how does this audiobook approach resilience? What's the key?
It's all about learning to bounce back from those tough times, turning those obstacles into stepping stones.
Ooh, love that imagery. Turning stumbling blocks into stepping stones.
And it starts by talking about perspective. You can choose to see those setbacks as failures that define you, OR. You can reframe them as learning experiences.
Like choose to focus on the lesson, not just the loss. But that's easier said than done, right?
Oh, absolutely. Especially in the heat of the moment, it can be tough to see that silver lining.
You're just feeling the disappointment.
And the audiobook gets that. It's not about denying those negative feelings. It's more about like processing them in a healthy way and then shifting your focus to what you can control.
Okay, I like that. Taking charge where you can.
It even gets into specific techniques for building resilience, like mindfulness meditation and, reframing that negative self-talk.
Mindfulness and reframing. Break those down for me. How do those actually build resilience?
Well, mindfulness, it helps you become more aware of your thoughts and feelings without judging them.
So you're observing them, not getting swept away by them.
Exactly. And that lets you respond to tough situations with more calmness and clarity. And then reframing negative self-talk. Well, we all have that inner critic, right?
Oh, for sure. Always whispering doubts.
And this technique is about challenging those thoughts head on. Instead of dwelling on what went wrong, you ask yourself, what can I learn from this? What's one positive thing I can take away?
So shifting from blame to growth. Love that mindset shift.
Right. And I'd say having a strong support system is huge for resilience, too. It's tough to go it alone.
We need those people to lean on, to lift us up.
Absolutely. This chapter stresses that surrounding yourself with people who uplift and encourage you makes a world of difference. Having that network, whether it's friends, family, a mentor, it gives you invaluable guidance, especially when things get rough.
Like having a team of cheerleaders in your corner, always rooting for you. Okay, so we're building resilience, mastering self-discipline. We've got that clear vision, a strong sense of purpose. And then, chapter 7, the role of discipline in success, really drives home the point that discipline is like that secret sauce in all those success stories we admire.
It's the common thread, yeah.
It's not about being some genius or having this crazy natural talent. It's about showing up every day, putting in the work consistently.
Consistency is key, why?
Would you agree that it's often those small, consistent actions that actually create the biggest results?
100%. Think of it like compound interest. Small, consistent investments over time lead to huge returns. Same thing with discipline. Those daily habits, those little acts of self-control, they add up and lead to, well, remarkable things. It's not about those flashy, grand gestures.
It's about showing up day after day, even when it's not glamorous.
That's it. The steady, unwavering pursuit of your goals. And speaking of consistency, Chapter 8 digs into manifesting your desires with purpose and discipline, and this is where things get really interesting.
Manifestation. It's trendy these days. But this audiobook takes a different angle, doesn't it?
It does. Manifestation, it's not just wishing and hoping. It's about aligning your energy, focus, and those disciplined actions to bring those desires to life. But so many people get tripped up here, right? They think it's all about positive thinking and then just waiting for the universe to deliver.
Yeah, like magic. But it takes more than that, right?
Way more. And the audiobook is super clear on this. Visualization, affirmations, they're powerful tools, but they're not magic wands. They have to be paired with action.
Right.
And it all starts with clarity of vision. You can't manifest something if you're not even sure what you want.
You got to know what you're aiming for. I want to be rich. It's too vague.
Right, exactly. It's got to be specific. The audiobook's all about creating a clear roadmap for your desires. What are the steps? What resources do you need? What skills do you have to develop? And then it's about using discipline to turn those plans into, actual reality.
Bridging that gap between dreaming and doing. It's having the vision board, but also having that to-do list.
Absolutely. And it's using discipline to stay focused, keep taking those steps, even when there are obstacles.
Even when it gets tough, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're taking the power of manifestation, but grounding it in action. And then we come to chapter 9, the disciplined life becoming unstoppable. This one feels like a shift from specific goals to embracing discipline as a way of life.
That's it. It's about integrating discipline into everything you do, making it part of who you are, not just something you force yourself to do.
Embodying that discipline in your thoughts, your actions, your choices. And wouldn't you say a big part of this is mental toughness? It's not just being disciplined for a week, it's sustaining it over time.
Oh, absolutely. This chapter really dives into the importance of mental resilience. Staying consistent, dedicated, even when you face those challenges and setbacks. And it talks about prioritizing too, right? Our time and energy are limited, so learning to allocate them wisely is crucial.
Choosing where to focus, saying no to the things that don't align with your bigger goals. It's tough, but necessary, huh?
For sure. And this chapter explores this cool paradox too. That discipline, while it might feel restrictive at first, it ultimately leads to greater freedom.
Like you're creating a structure that allows you to build the life you actually want.
Exactly. Think of it like a garden, right?
Yeah.
A well-tended garden, it needs discipline, consistent weeding, watering, all that. But the result, well, it's this flourishing, abundant space.
So disciplined life is like creating that fertile ground for
Yeah.
yourself to grow and thrive in.
Beautiful analogy. And that brings us to chapters 10 through 20, which we'll get into after a quick.
Yeah.
It's funny. We often talk about discipline as this, self-improvement superpower.
Oh, yeah, cool.
But this audiobook, what I love about it is it really highlights how discipline's strongest when you pair it with purpose.
It's not just about being like super rigid and structured for no reason, right?
Yeah,
It's about knowing why you're pushing yourself.
exactly. Imagine having like this amazing race car, all tuned up, ready to go. That's your discipline.
Okay, I'm visualizing.
But if you don't have a destination, you don't have a clear track to follow, well, all that power, kind of wasted.
You're just spinning your wheels, getting nowhere.
That's it. This audiobook, it's like that map or that GPS that helps you align your discipline with a vision that really gets you fired up.
And what I like is it acknowledges that it's not like you just unlock discipline level 10
Yeah.
and you're good to go. It's a journey, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's about cultivating that awareness, that constant check-in. Like, are my actions actually helping me reach my goals? Do I need to, switch things up? It's almost like being a gardener, but for your own growth.
I love that analogy. Okay, so for our listener who's ready to take that first step, what's one thing they can do today? Like a practical tip they can put into action right away.
Think small, but think consistent. What's one tiny habit? Something you can commit to doing every day that'll nudge you towards that bigger vision. Maybe it's like 5 minutes of journaling each morning or swapping out that sugary afternoon snack for, I don't know, a piece of fruit.
Those little things, they might seem small, but when you do them day after day, that's where the magic happens.
It's those tiny drops of water that eventually carve a canyon.
I love that visual. And don't forget to celebrate those wins each time you follow through. Give yourself a pat on the back. Acknowledge that you did it.
It reinforces that I can do this feeling that fuels your motivation.
It's all about building that momentum, right? So listener, what's your tiny step? What seed of discipline are you planting today that's going to grow into the life you really want?
This isn't about being perfect, it's about making progress. Be kind to yourself, enjoy the journey, and remember, with consistent effort, you can achieve anything you set your mind to.
All right, so that's it for this deep dive into discipline your mindset. Thanks for tuning in. Until next time, stay curious, stay disciplined, and keep reaching for that extraordinary life that's waiting for you. So we've really gone deep on this one, haven't we? Discipline, mindset, personal growth. We've covered a lot of ground with discipline your mindset. What's really sticking with you after all this, expert speaker? Like, what's the big takeaway for our listeners?
It's interesting. We talk about discipline like it's this, magic bullet for self-improvement.
Yeah, like it's the key to success.
But what this audiobook really nails is that discipline is most powerful when it's got a purpose behind it. It's got to be fueled by something meaningful, something that really matters to you.
So it's not just about being disciplined for the sake of it. It's about knowing why you're pushing yourself, right? What's driving you?
Exactly. Imagine like you have this incredible sports car, right? All souped up, ready to race. That's your discipline. But without a destination, without a clear track to follow, what's the point of all that power?
You're just going to spin out, end up right back where you started.
This audiobook, it's like that map, that GPS. It helps you connect your discipline to a vision that truly inspires you, that gets you excited to put in the work.
And I appreciate how it acknowledges that this whole discipline thing, it's not a one-time fix.
Right.
It's not like you reach discipline level 10 and you're set for life. It's an ongoing process.
Totally. It's about developing that awareness, that constant check-in with yourself. Are my actions actually taking me where I want to go? What needs to change? It's almost like, being a gardener, but for your own personal growth. You're constantly tending to that garden, making sure it's flourishing.
I love that analogy.
Wow.
Okay, so for our listener who's thinking, all right, I'm ready to get more disciplined, what's one concrete thing they can do right now, like today?
Start small. Seriously. Don't try to change everything overnight. Pick one tiny habit, something super manageable you can do every single day that'll move you closer to that bigger vision. Maybe it's just 5 minutes of meditation every morning, or replacing that bag of chips with a piece of fruit in the afternoon.
Those little things, they might seem insignificant at first, but when you do them consistently day after day, That's how you build momentum. That's how you create lasting change.
It's like those tiny drops of water that eventually carve out a Grand Canyon. Never underestimate the power of consistency.
And don't forget to celebrate those wins. Every time you follow through on that commitment, give yourself some credit. It reinforces that belief in yourself that I can do this attitude that keeps you going. So listener, what's your one small step? What seed of discipline are you planting today that's going to grow into the life you truly want?
Remember, this isn't about being perfect. It's about progress. Be patient with yourself, enjoy the journey, and trust that with consistent effort, you can achieve anything you set your mind to.
And that's a wrap for this deep dive into Discipline Your Mindset. Thanks for being here with us. Until next time, stay curious, stay disciplined, and keep reaching for that extraordinary life that's waiting for you.